So I've just copied and pasted the elements of the band descriptor that I thought were relevant to the activity I ran. So they were definitely engaged through purposeful and creative play throughout the exploration activity. I took out the through structured activities from the curriculum because I wanted it to be more of an open-ended task where they just went through the garden and found things that were of interest or meaning to them. So I really just wanted it to be a more authentic experience for this particular activity. They explored artworks and how they can represent the world and ideas about the world, and I think they did this through the use of nature. And we talked about the colours of the different plants and the different colours of paints and things that they were using and what it made them think of, what they could relate it to, which was with the red and green, we discussed them being Christmas colours and things like that. They definitely drew on artworks from a range of cultures. Well, I'd particularly say the Aboriginal culture. I really wanted to include this because I didn't do so in my first assessment. That's something that's really important to me personally, but also as highlighted in the curriculum. So I talked to them before the activity about Aboriginal artwork, and I'm lucky enough to have a fair bit of authentic Aboriginal art at home. So I showed them some examples of it. I don't know that it meant a lot to them at the age that they are at, but I did ask them how they thought they had created this piece of art, and one of them was a painting on some bark. So I think that was interesting, and I think that might have influenced the artwork that Sophie produced later, because that introduced them to the idea that you don't just have to paint on paper, you can paint on things that we find in the garden, which Sophie ultimately did when she made the music sticks and the pine cone decoration later on. So it's hard to know exactly what influence that had on them, but on reflection, I did feel like it did have an influence and she did take something from it. I think that also relates to the responding to artworks, forms, and processes, because I think after I had showed her the artwork on the bark, she took the process of painting on those raw materials and used that in the things she created. While I don't think that Lachlan took anything from that, I think the interactions that they had together meant that he just copied the same things she was doing. But that's how I feel that the activity related to the band descriptors.